Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Shotgun Start. Today is Monday, July 29th. Brentley, how are you doing?
Andy, what a day. What a Sunday. Olympics, waking up early, getting some espresso pressed, roll right into the Mr. Hammer drill, but finally becoming a major champion. And then Mr. MLB, Johnny V, went in at the sod farm, the 3M Open.
Yeah.
Just a generational. I actually saw this on Twitter too. A generational sports watching day from some random person talking about the Olympics. Of course.
Yeah, it's okay. It's I don't know how you feel about the Olympics. You're an NBC employee, so I don't know how much we can trust your opinion about the Olympics. But
I love the Olympics.
I like them, but I'm also not like jumping out of my seat to watch like somebody, throw a weighted disc somewhere. Like I think there's a reason. There's a reason none of these sports are mainstream sports.
I mean, as a college athlete of an Olympic sport, I would disagree. There are some great sports, Andy. I mean, you got to open your
sport. I didn't know this. I didn't know the Brentley.
You want to guess? Well, it wasn't Division One.
Was it D2?
No, it may have been club sport, but there is a footnote. No, hold on. There's a footnote. I played water polo at UCF. There are very, very few Division One water polo teams. Most of the teams around the country have club water polo teams, and so played a couple years and decided that I needed to work and do something with my life, actually focus on school. But yeah.
So that means you can really wade in water well, right?
You mean tread water. Yeah.
Tread water.
Well, so there's this drill that you do, and it's similar. It's kind of like something maybe KJ Choi would have his students do, but you tread water. You can't touch the bottom. And the 5-gallon water jugs that go upside down into those dispensers?
Yeah, like the Hinkley Springs.
So you have to fill that.
Yeah,
Zephyr Hills or, whatever. So you fill that 3/4 of the way full and you hold it above your head until it empties.
Oh my God.
While treading water.
That sounds terrible.
I mean, it's not fun, but it looks cool.
Good workout too. What's your favorite Olympic sport? Since we'll do Olympics minute here right off the top.
All right. I actually had some Olympics minute questions prepared because I figured we might go this way. Besides the water polo, I love the gymnastics. I love the swimming, pretty much the popular ones. But I've been getting into the slalom, like the canoe, where you go through the checkpoints. It's kind of like slalom skiing, but it's in a, like a wave pool or whatever you call it, artificial rapids. So that's kind of my favorite. What about you?
I like basketball. I like watching basketball because it's a great sport to watch on TV. Thus, that's why we watch it a lot when it's not the Olympics too. So I like watching basketball. If I was going to pick something else, I think like the sprinting is pretty awesome. I like the sprinting.
Yeah. It's 3v3 basketball or the 5v5.
I'm locked into the dream team here. The new dream team.
Did you know breakdancing? Did you know breakdancing is now in the Olympics?
I remember when the headline came through. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to tell you it was part of the Olympics, but when you've jogged my memory of when breakdancing got in.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it on yet, but I'm kind of interested. Hey, who do you think, real quick, you got 4 American golfers in Paris. What sport would each of them play if it weren't for golf? Which Olympic sport?
None of them would play in anything.
No, but if you had to pick, like Scotty Scheffler, I could see Scotty Scheffler being a really good handball guy.
All right.
He's tall.
Xander, I don't know what Xander would do. He's like 5'7".
He's going to save American soccer. We talked about this last week.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. The
Yeah.
soccer.
I had the trampoline. I could see him bouncing up and down on the trampoline.
You got Wyndham Clark and Colin Morikawa. I mean, like, I have no clue. I don't think these guys would be good at anything. I don't think they would, like, I don't think they'd be close to Olympic athletes at anything.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Wyndham Clark,
I
could
put
see
down
him playing
archery
like maybe
for Colin.
baseball.
Well, that's not in the Olympics,
Isn't
I
it?
don't think.
It's no more?
No.
Wasn't a part of it?
No.
I-
It
how
goes
is
back and forth. Like they take it in and take it out depending on whether the country wants it. So I believe when we host it in 4 years, baseball is going to be back in.
All right. Well, he could be on the next baseball team. He's on the golf team this time.
I had surfing for
Wyndham.
Wyndham.
What do you have
my,
for
my second
Morikawa?
question?
What do you have for Morikawa?
Archery maybe. I could see him like something that involves like very finite skill, shooting, archery, something like that. I could see. I could see more.
You want a tale about?
I had surfing.
You want
for
a tale
Wyndham.
about another Olympian? A Tosti tale?
Yeah, Tosti. I would love it. I was worried about Tosti on Thursday night. He put a kind of a depressing social media post out after shooting 78. I was feeling bad. He had a rough day up there in the Twin Cities.
Hearing rumors he might have gone through a caddy this week, another caddy. Possibly. That's an unsubstantiated rumor.
Well, that would be just par for the course, right? I mean, he's got to get someone in there that could get him over the line. So he's just going through it. He hasn't won yet.
His attitude about caddies is never going to allow anybody to get there. It seems like, he thinks that I think he thinks they're kind of just like leeches in the professional game. This would be me putting words, but his actions kind of point to him thinking that they just don't have a place there. He shouldn't be paying these people. Tosti missed the cut at the 3M. He is, of course, representing Argentina at the Olympics Games. I think this is a big week for Tosti. Now, like, what would you do if you missed the cut? And you're playing the Olympics on Thursday.
I would fly straight to Paris and go to as many sporting events as I could. Take the public transportation, right. Go see the Eiffel Tower. I bet you that's exactly what old Toaster did.
No, he didn't. He stayed in Minneapolis,
and
he got in the Saturday Pro-Am. So the tour has a Monday Pro-Am and a Saturday Pro-Am. Saturday Pro-Ams for people that miss the cut. They can get paid. They get paid a little extra. You go to the Saturday Pro-Am. I think they get paid like $5,000 to show up at the Saturday Pro-Am after a missed cut. And he played the Saturday morning Pro-Am before he left for the Olympics. So instead of getting on a plane on Friday night, heading to Paris, getting the body clock set up, one day earlier, all things that might be valuable, getting the Olympic spirit, Tosti headed straight to the Saturday Pro-Am.
Hey, that is admirable. He's just, he's a company guy.
No.
Company guy.
This was an action that, even frugal Fratelli would be proud of. So after the Pro-Am, he was seen boxing up food to go from the buffet. So he's got a little to-go box from the buffet, and then headed out, hit the road. So that's your Tosti facts. He missed the cut, might have fired another caddy, didn't go to Paris. Used the time to go to Paris early. Went to the Saturday Pro-Am to get paid a little extra bucks. Who knows what course that Saturday Pro-Am was played at? I'm sure it might be fair, good prep
Andy,
for Le Golf National.
Practice didn't begin in Paris until Saturday anyway, so he's likely only missed maybe 1 or 2 days. He's got plenty of time. I mean, he's got nothing to lose. I mean, he's gonna roll in right to the first tee after watching badminton or sport climbing or something. He's gonna feel the spirit and he's gonna dominate. I mean, he's gonna be. I wouldn't put it past him to medal. I mean, that is not a golf course that suits his game well.
I think he's a terrible pick at there. The golf course. He's like the most aggressive player in the world, and it's a golf course that we've seen just absolutely hammers aggressive nature.
this is a rags to riches story. He's going to be inspired. We didn't expect Rory Sabatini
That's true.
to get the silver medal in Tokyo. So Tosti is the ultimate sleeper because he absolutely should not be anywhere near the medal stand, but I wouldn't put it past the toaster. My last Olympic question, because I know we've been spinning the wheels for a while here. My company would actually like that. But what pro golfer is most likely to actually believe he could be an Olympian in another sport?
Oh, what?
Like, who's in the field?
What golfer would most believe? It's too bad Bryson's not.
He could
Bryson's
be.
not in the field. That would be like an odd.
Or Brooks. I was thinking Brooks, but he's not in the field.
I saw that LIV did something with Brooks. Like, what sport would you be an Olympian? Did you see that little social video?
No.
He said,
did he say?
I didn't watch it past. Like, Brooks was the first one, and he said, a runner or running, and he goes, running late. Terrible dad joke.
You know who would not be in the Olympics for running?
Who?
Our 3M Open champion, Johnny Vegas. Straight out of the Houston Open.
I still haven't answered the question. I'm looking through the list here. I feel like Sepp Straka thinks he probably could, I guess that, he could be a discus guy,
Judo, something, He's low to the ground, low center of gravity. I said maybe perhaps Rory. I think Rory might think he could, be.
What do you think he could be?
I don't know, like a shooter, or a archer.
True.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's some obscure sports here. All right, let's talk about Johnny Vegas. Johnny Vegas ends a 7-year drought. He birdies the last hole to clip Max Grieserman, who put together a really good Sunday. Has been playing really good golf. Kind of a rookie that's on the up and up. Now that he's getting some starts, getting the chance to be on the up and up. Other players in the hunt. Matt Kuchar had kind of a chance. Maverick McNeely, those two were in the final group, both.
The stinker.
Who's the stinker?
Matt Kuchar. Matt Kuchar. Did you not hear him on the last hole?
What did he say? Oh.
He just shouted stinker, yeah. Instead of, a cursory word. He's a stinker.
He's doing good by society. He's looking out for the kids, So Johnny Vegas adds, this is his fourth win. This was a nice story. It's a nice story. Like, is it a story that the tour needs every week in, week out? No. But this was a nice story. A guy that's gone through some adversity, had some injury issues, and comes back and wins. Now we're going to see Johnny Vegas everywhere. That's kind of where I would say maybe we don't need this,
Well, he's got to get one more win because that would put him in exclusive company in the pancake zone. But it's truly probably one of the best stories in the field. And if you go on Twitter and look at Sean Martin's thread, golf Twitter's Rumpelstiltskin, Sean Martin threading it, spinning gold. Should I read some of this?
Go ahead.
This story. It's pretty good. Look, Smartin, for as much as we give him a hard time, he's been doing this a long time. Previously with Golf Week, now with the PGA Tour, and I'll just read what he wrote. It's kind of Vegas's backstory and how he kind of came to be. But he said, Johnny Vegas win at the 3M Open. Good opportunity to recall his incredible route to the PGA Tour, one that involved sacrifice, risk, and an indomitable optimism. He was 17 when he moved to the U.S. from Venezuela. He arrived with just his clubs, a bag of clothes, and 10 words of English in his vocabulary. He had won the 2001 Venezuela Junior, which earned him an invitation to the Junior World Championships at San Diego's Torrey Pines, one of the best golf courses in the world. He finished sixth there. During that trip to the States, Johnny's father, Carlos, walked into the office of Houston-based teaching pro Kevin Kirk, who also longtime coach at Patrick Reed, said, I'd like to leave him with you. At the time, Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez was cracking down on golf and had taken Vegas's business from them. Moving to the U.S. was the best way for Jhonattan to pursue his dreams. Jhonattan took English classes at a local community college in the morning, then headed to the golf course to practice. He lived in the home of Francis Betancourt, a Venezuelan pro who had moved to Houston. Jhonattan passed the TOEFL, which is an English proficiency exam, and SAT later in the year, which allowed him to play for Texas men's golf. In Austin, he had to ask teammates for rides to and from the course. He didn't have a car, cell phone, or computer. Eventually, after hearing of Jhonattan's needs, Austin businessman Dick Kemp stepped in and became Jhonattan's legal guardian in the States. Jhonattan called Kemp his American dad and guardian angel. Vegas needed 6 root canals during his freshman year. The Kemps bought Vegas a well-used Chevy Cavalier for transportation, one that barely fit Vegas's oversized frame. This is some great prose from Smart.
Put a lot into this
Texas head coach
into this Twitter thread.
It's almost over. It is almost done. A few more paragraphs. Texas head coach John Fields remembered watching Vegas walk down the 18th hole at Sawgrass Country Club during his Longhorn debut. Shout out John Haidt Invitational there. Vegas was holding one shoe in his hand. Quote, he got the worst blisters you could ever get on your feet, and the guy never said a darn thing, Fields said. He was so appreciative of getting the shoes, he wasn't going to say a word about them not fitting. He's just so appreciative of everything he's earned, and if you really are super appreciative, what do? You give your absolute best, and that's what he does in everything he does.
It was super cool to see him with his family. I think this is one of the neat things about golf, is and especially where golf's going. We have a lot more, I think, diverse backgrounds, and it's neat to see Vegas, who I think like he's not necessarily like a trailblazer. Obviously, there's a lot of great South American players over the years, but not a lot of great Venezuelan players. And I think, it's refreshing to have stories of people that weren't given everything in golf, right? And this is a guy that like learned how to play, and I mean, it's a super neat story. And I think am I expecting the world from Jhonattan Vegas going forward? No. He may never win another tournament, and that's fine. This was really cool to watch him win. And I thought it was interesting. He talked about with Amanda after the win about how he knew on like the first hole he didn't have it. And he just like had to like. I
don't think anyone in that last group had it.
It's like I think like that's like also like a true pro. Like the guy's been doing it a long time now. Like knowing you don't have it on the first tee, I think we see like a lot of younger players where they don't have it and it's very clear and they shoot 76. This guy went out and mustered together a 100 par round. He made a couple birdies coming in that iced the tournament. And birdies 18. When he needs a birdie to hold off Grieserman, who was super impressive. You kind of have like both ends of the spectrum with the tour here, where you have a young guy who's like very talented in Grieserman and kind of coming up, hasn't gotten a lot of starts, and then you have the guy that kind of has like some status remaining on tour from his years of play, and kind of like interesting juxtaposition for the 3M.
Yeah, it probably should have been a bigger story than I think it was, but with the Olympics going on, with everything going on, but he kind of alluded to it in his post-round presser, was asked a question, and the question was pointed more toward inspiring like the next generation of Venezuelan golfers. And I mean, truth be told, golf isn't a big sport in Venezuela because, the president doesn't like golf. I mean, it's not a golf haven like some other South American countries, and it's a big day for Venezuela. They're having elections. There's real opposition to the current president, Nicolas Maduro. You saw, I don't know if you watch baseball much today, but Wilson Contreras from the Cardinals, he's from Venezuela, and he got really emotional because he hit a home run, and they asked him about it later, and he really talked for 2 or 3 minutes about kind of the situation in his home country. And I think Johnny has been pretty outspoken about it in the past too. And so I think that was it was a cool moment for him to win and maybe shine a little bit of a light on that, where people are looking and they're like, well, what's he talking about? And then they go and do some research and figure out exactly what's going on. And that, sometimes life in other countries isn't as good as it is maybe here, or other places in the world. But yeah, so super cool. Like I said, one of the kind of the good guys. I think they're all good, but pretty neat to see Johnny finally win. I mean, he hadn't played a major in 2 years, Andy. He hadn't played all 4 majors since 2018. I mean, the guy has kind of become an afterthought on the PGA Tour he was a President's Cup, I'm not going to say star, but he was in that conversation there for a little bit. And, now he kind of gets it back.
Well, now he'll be in all the, this is where I don't know if he's going to be in all the signature events. I think there's going to be a recalibration of what a win means, but he's up to 66 in the FedEx Cup. He's like, it looks like he'll be
just inside.
Yeah, he'll be like a bubble, just kind of a bubble boy next week still, but probably in the FedEx Cup playoffs. He moved up from 149. I think I got to call this out. Jhonattan Vegas just developing a murderer's row of places he's taken down titles. He's got 2 at Glen Abbey, that was rough. He's got the Sod Farm, and then he won the Palm Springs event, was his first one, and it was in it was like when they didn't have PGA West, so I think the rotation was the Arnold Palmer private course, the Nicholas private course, Silver Rock Resort, which is in La Quinta, and Bermuda Dunes Country Club. So that's the 4 courses what he won out there. So just an interesting career in general. Like, not knocking down the greatest courses in the world when he's winning, but 4 wins, like not nothing. Like certified pro golfer, right? Super certified pro golfer. You win 4 plus times, 3-4 times, and you're a legit pro golfer. So congrats to Johnny Vegas. It was a nice different story in the game. Like, there needs to be variety. It can't always be superstars winning. Nice to see him. On the other side of the coin.
Wait, hold on. Big win for Major League Baseball too.
That's right. One of the guys that's got the Major League Baseball sponsorship. That's got to be some tie with Venezuela, right? Is that
probably? Yeah, I mean, like we just mentioned, Wilson Contreras, obviously William Contreras, a lot of great Venezuelan players in the MLB. It's got to be. But what's Cameron Young's tie?
He probably just knows Manfred, maybe,
or Pepe.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't
Is
think
Pepe still?
Pepe's,
He's not sponsored by him anymore. Right?
I mean,
okay. He was designated for assignment.
It feels like there's like 2 MLB guys every year. I mean, it goes back to like Spencer Levine was an MLB guy. We could chart through and kind of figure out. I feel like they've had like consistent presence on the PGA Tour for a long time. All right, let's talk about the other side of the spectrum. You got Johnny Vegas coming in, winning, underdog story, overcoming obstacles. I guess Jon Rahm, he's overcoming obstacles. He wins for the first time on LIV. He beats Tyrrell Hatton. Hatton misses a short putt on the last hole. It helps Legion 13, his team, win the team title. He took down 36 hole leader. I'm so used to saying
they only played 3 rounds.
36 hole leader Andy Ogletree, who had a tough Sunday, made 3 double bogeys on a Sunday. So Rahm's off the schneid on LIV. That was his first win since the 2023 Masters. How crazy is that?
That's just insane. He was emotional too, Andy. He was fighting back tears.
That's because
this was a big deal to him.
3-year-old Keppa told him to bring back a trophy.
He did. Well, did you see? He said he won some member guests, so he already had a trophy. So this is the second one that he's won since he's been away from home on this trip.
That's what he said.
Yeah, he won something. I'm going to butcher this. I'm not going to go looking through the transcripts, but it's something like the Queenswood Cup or something. Does that ring a bell?
I didn't see that.
He won some member guest or pro member or something.
Second win. We should put it on his OWGR page.
He could win next week too.
That's why I was kind of like actually like thinking
everything for Koepka.
I was thinking about Jon Rahm as like he's had this kind of pretty miserable year by his standards. Feels like a waste of a year. And I have a real question of like where I'm doing a podcast about this on Friday tomorrow. But like what's the Olympics? What does it mean to us? What for golf? How are we going to think about it in 15 years, 20 years? I think it's actually going to like become a big deal. We're just at this like very infancy of it. I think like this Jon Rahm could win a gold medal. It doesn't turn around his entire year, but I think when we look back on his career, maybe in 20 years, that gold medal will carry more weight than it does today. And it could like some people could be like, oh, he won a gold medal that year though. Yeah, I mean, how do you think about the Olympics? What do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be something of relevance in 20 years, or do you think it's not? Is it going to go the way of baseball and be, in or out depending on the host country?
Well, I think it goes to the length of the season and whether we're exhausted about golf at this point in the calendar year. I mean, is it going to be one of the most popular Olympic sports? Like, probably not. But I think no matter what Olympic sport you play, it's a big deal to be an Olympian, to, have that honor, be able to get the Olympic tattoos on your arm or wherever you want to get it. I think that it just, I don't know. All of these guys grew up watching the Olympics. Whether they thought they can play in them or not is a different story, but they all grew up watching it. Like, they were all kids who woke up in the morning or at night and remember, watching the swimming or other sports and things like that. So I don't know. When did they stop saying, or, when does that narrative stop, Andy, about, oh, well, this wasn't something that was a realistic goal. So I feel like some golfers, and Rahm has even talked about this, like they're still talking about that. Like, that's still the narrative. I think at some point, the narrative should be, this is a really big deal. Like, I'm super excited. Not, well, I didn't grow up dreaming about this as a kid, but, I'm going to give it a shot.
I think it's super interesting to me, the difference between the women and the men and their attitudes. Like, the women, I mean, the Olympics is like a huge deal. I think a lot of that has to do with like the exposure it can provide, and it's a platform that like supersedes anything that the women's game has right now in terms of its tournament profile. I think what it is it's part scheduling, but I think it's just the idea of like, this isn't as big or important as a major, and then we have this giant cash grab right after it, and that's, I think, the issue. But I do think it's going to change over time. Like, this is what I think is interesting about the Olympics, is that I do think that when we zoom out a bunch of years from now, I think it's going to be important. It's just like people like resist change a lot. It's like, because they resist the change, it's just not, this isn't the way it was. And I think that's the issue with it, right? It's just like people don't like it because it's new. I don't know. I could be wrong though, right?
You could be, but I don't know. I think it will probably fall in line somewhere, kind of compare it to tennis. Tennis has the majors, and, Djokovic, Nadal, like they're all playing, but I don't know. Tennis just doesn't seem like as big of a deal. And I'm not a big tennis guy. I'm a decent fan, but I could see golf kind of in that, that area with tennis, and a little bit above soccer. I mean, soccer is a sport that I love watching the World Cup and the Euros, but no one plays in the Olympics. Like, it's just younger guys.
I think,
and so at least on the men's side, the women's Olympic soccer is great.
I think the men should really embrace this, because it's another opportunity for their platform, and it's a huge opportunity for the sport in general. And anytime there's big opportunities for the sport to be on a massive stage is good for the overall health of the game. I think like it being unpaid is that's. I mean, we've seen the comments of these players with regards to the Ryder Cup, and I imagine there's some aspect of that as well with that. But like, I mean, you look at like the NBA players, like most of these guys, I think like there is some injury risk to going and playing golf in a tournament that you're not paid in, but it's nowhere near what happened to like Paul George in the Olympics practices in the NBA or some of these other sports where you can like literally like end your career competing in the Olympics that's not paid. Like, I think that overall golf's mentality towards some of these exhibitions that put them on this massive stage needs to kind of just shift everything. Like, there are things that you do that make you a lot more money down the road that you might not know, like, but like I think like winning a gold medal opens a lot of doors, and I think that's the way that these guys need to kind of embrace it and understand like there's a lot of potential great things that are going to happen to me in my life if I win a gold medal.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be the biggest thing. I mean, swimming, gymnastics, like this is the pinnacle of those sports. But I do think it needs to be a little bit bigger of a deal than I think it is to some of these players. And, maybe I'm just putting words in their mouth, but, we did have some guys back out who maybe weren't, wouldn't have been in contention at the very end, but early on at least were.
Do you think Juice Luton could have contended for a medal?
Hey, I have a bone to pick a little bit. You compared Alex Noren to Juice Luton in the game within the game at Royal Troon. I mean, he is far and above.
I'm a huge Alex Noren fan.
He is a. I just did power rankings. I know how much you love power rankings, but I just did power rankings for the Olympics, and Alex Noren came in at number 6.
Who's number 1? Scotty?
No, I didn't put Scotty number 1. I put you know what?
Well, we got you. Who are your top 5?
Okay. I have Colin Morikawa at number 1. And I say this because I think there's an intangible there. Colin seems to actually enjoy the Olympics. He was there for the opening ceremony. Like he interacts with the other athletes.
Yeah, I've seen like on Instagram he's been at all these different sports. It's like, I mean, how cool. Like people talk like, oh, I get to represent my country at the Ryder Cup. That's like a made up exhibition. This is a freaking Olympics. Like this is actually representing your country.
Well, come on. Let's might be a little hyperbolic. The Ryder Cup is huge. But it's not the Olympics.
Not the Olympics.
Right. No, it's not. It's not. But it's still a big deal.
All right. So you got Morikawa number 1.
I mean, really, Andy, everything is made up if you think about it. Everything.
It's all made up. It is. We live in a made up society.
We do. Well, all right. Number 2, I got Shane Lowry. Accurate driver of the golf ball. Great iron player. He's played this course before. Throw out that Saturday at Royal Troon. I mean, he's trending. I got him at 2. I got Xander at 3. You can't deny a guy who's won 2 majors and a gold medal in the past. And then I got Rahm 4 and Scotty 5. I don't know. I'm worried about the putter with Scotty.
I think that.
I mean,
I don't know.
He's starting to get back in the red with the flat stick, and it's starting to be consistent. And I don't know. I feel like you got to putt well at Le Golf National.
I think you just got to keep it in play.
Yeah, but you got to make.
Remember,
at the end of the day,
do you remember a couple years ago before the Ryder Cup when they had that European Tour final round? It was like
the French Open.
Watching like a 50-car pileup happen down the stretch. It was nobody could get it done. Everybody's rinsing balls. I think this is going to be actually like a really exciting tournament from that standpoint. This golf course, I'm not a fan of it. I would never want to go play it. But I do think it's like a super interesting golf course in terms of professional golf because it like places like a ridiculous demand on hitting the ball straight. And it's like, I think from like a variety sense, it's kind of compelling. We could get like a total obscure winner next week. I mean, like
an Alex Noren.
Yeah, or or Tom Dietrich.
No, I actually have him pretty high.
Tom Dietrich's a good pick.
I'm a big fan of Tom. I mean, he's T8, T16 at Le Golf
Thomas
National.
Peters the second Belgian?
No, Adrian.
Yeah.
Who Brendan just struggles to pronounce this guy's name. He calls him just Shart. It's just Shart. I mean, I can't even say it now. I listen to Brendan.
All right, let's talk.
It's Adrian Dumont de Chissart.
Let's talk about the U.S. Junior. That's at Oakland Hills, a place I'm going to be tomorrow. Scott Gucheski wins the U.S. Junior.
Trevor
Scott, his son is Scott.
Scott's the dad. Yeah.
Trevor Gucheski. Sorry.
See, I was having the yips.
Trevor,
he got the Scott yips, the Guchevsky yips. I had those with Luke Guchevsky, the older brother, who was the co-medalist at Ridgewood. Yeah, he was the co-medalist at the USAM.
How about the family, just in general? You got the PGA Tour playing dad, who, he got to the tour, like 3 years ago? It was the first time. It might have been like 43 years old when he finally
He's been on the tour for 8 years. I mean, 8 seasons now on the PGA Tour.
8 seasons? He's been up there?
Yeah. He's 3-time winner in the Korn Ferry.
So you guys...
might not be on tour after this season, unfortunately. It's been a rough year.
He's a 4A guy.
Good guy. Yeah,
he's a 4A guy. He goes up and down. Get the MLB. He gets designated for assignment every once in a while. But big win for Trevor. He wins the U.S. Junior over Tyler Watts. It got painted as this picture of like David versus Goliath.
How about that?
Because of Gucheski's OWGR rank being 3750. Which is WAGR, not OWGR, WAGR rank being
3517.
Yeah, like 3517. 3,500 in the WAGR, but like anybody that knew junior golf was like, this kid's a stud. He's awesome. And he wins the US Junior over Tyler Watts, who's like a very high profile. He was on the junior select team, the new developmental team, and he had been running roughshod over everybody. But Gucheski gets painted as this kind of like a Cinderella story, but he's a stud. He's going to play golf at Florida. That's all you need to know. Like he's not the 3,700th best amateur or junior or amateur golfer in the world if you're going to play at Florida on a ride. Brentley, what's wrong with the WAGR? What? How is this even possible? How is it the 3,500th best golfer going to play at Florida?
I hope the WAGR overlords aren't tuning
the problem
in,
is there's all these exemptions and stuff that's tied to WAGR. Like you get into the USAM based off your WAGR. You get into the US Junior. All these other big amateur events like the Western Am are looking at it. Walker Cup's really heavy on WAGR. And it's like, this week should end the WAGR, in my opinion.
That's a bold proclamation, but I'm all for it. I have to give a lot of credit to our pal Jim Colton, whose son Luke Colton made it to the round of 16. Great player, one of the best players in the class of 2026. But he's kind of like a WAGR savant. Like he knows all things WAGR, and he wrote a pretty interesting story that kind of broke it all down on his website, which is driven.golf. It's DRVN.
He's
without the
vowels.
Gotten
in with the G4 collective. He's got to get us some hats.
He should come up with his hat. How about Brendan Hunter? The hat Brendan, or whatever, it's a Bride Hunter or whatever it was.
Was it Bride or Birdie Hunter? Wasn't it supposed to be Birdie Hunter?
I thought something like that. It looked like it said Brendan Hunter. I thought they were coming after him.
It's just
those
hats are just ridiculous.
Anyways, he to kind of the spark notes is, I guess, in order to be ranked in WAGR, you have to record it might be like a tournament or a finish where you accrue at least 4 points, or maybe it's like 6.5, and that puts you in the ranking. And then if you haven't accrued another result worth 4 or more points in a calendar year in 52-week period, they kick you out of the rankings. And then you have to record a finish that gets you 6.5 points or better to get back in. And all of the results that you play between those time spans, it's like they didn't even happen. So Trevor Gachewski played 5 events. He was 3rd at the Byron Nelson Jr. He was 2nd at the, I think it was like the Nebraska Amateur, something like that, that somehow got him like 6.3 and change. So it's just ridiculous. He was top 10 at the Western Junior or the North and South Junior or something like that. I mean, this is, he should have been like 1,600 going into the week, which I guess still would have been well behind Tyler Watts, but I mean, still, yeah, I'm all for, like, WAGR really needs to look at it, because it's not, I think for amateurs and guys who are in college, it's fairly accurate because those guys are playing a lot in those tournaments. Like, they all have high power ratings, but for juniors, it's not really uncommon to go a year without like accruing 4 points or accruing 6.5 or whatever it is.
It seems silly, like, just for reference, Data Golf has started to do some junior rankings. They're trying to get in, and it's interesting to me to see, like, how I know that some of these juniors are as good, like, are very high level players who could play. You'll see some of them do really well in the USAM. They're high level players, like Tyler Watts is a great example. He's 24th in the Data Golf amateur rankings, and he's 119th in WAGR. It's like, it seems like just kind of silly. Like Blades Brown, who he's now medal. He's the only player other than Tiger, right, to medal in the junior and the USAM.
And your guy Bobby Clampett.
Like, great list. Yeah. He's 19th in the Data Golf rankings, 103rd in WAGR. Like, it just, to me, seems like almost like an archaic system. Luke Colton, 29 in the Data Golf junior rankings, 173rd in WAGR. Right? Like, it's like not even close. And why this is important is, like, these kids have to be at a certain WAGR to get exemptions into the USAM. So you end up with, like, these kids that are, by all intents and purposes, qualified to play, to, like, earn an exemption, that then go and have to play in these, like, crapshoot qualifiers. If I got another bone to pick with the while we're here, amateur golf bone to pick, I think that the new USAM qualifying is an utter disaster. They rolled out a new,
the 218 holes.
So they rolled out basically like a local and sectional qualifier. So if you want to qualify for the USAM, you have to get through 2 qualifiers unless you are exempt out of the local. And but
most of the good players who have to go to qualifying are not playing that.
So my main beef with this is that what it does is that it really increases the cost of someone. And this is an open championship, right? It's an open tournament, and you start to, like, do the math. If you are, if you have a kid and they want to play USAM, you're talking about like $1,000 minimum to do this, to do 2 qualifiers, right? And it doesn't guarantee your kid's going to get in it, as opposed to when it was one day, 36 holes. It was like, it was, $400, let's just say, with a practice round, travel, everything, entry fee. Sometimes you could get away if you knew the course for $150. That was what the entry fee is. Proof was in the pudding. The USGA got half as many entries this year to the USAM as they did before. So, kind of a little to grow the game. Speaking of the USAM, speaking about, it was hot out there at the junior. You got to be wearing great clothes. This week, we've got a Beach Ratty takeover week for the Olympics. They are a part of the next time that our fine American golfers can represent their country in a real, of all the international competitions, the most real representing your country is definitely the President's Cup. They are the apparel partner of the President's Cup. So you'll see Jim Furyk's fighting Americans or fighting USA.
Not a made up event.
Not a made up event at all. The complete opposite of a made up event. So anyway, you'll see, Mike Weir's team in Beat Ratty and Jim Furyk's team in Beat Ratty. Their outerwear will be zero restriction. They are a longtime partner of this podcast. We go way back. I traveled today. I was basically flying all day long, and I wore my Russ crew neck. That's like one of my go-to travel pieces. I would recommend that if you're looking for support for sweaty boy season, go with one of the sport materials. Go with the sport polo. But we'll see them at the next real international competition where you can really represent your country. And if you want to go shop at beatraddy.com, use the promo code SGS30 to get 30% off. That's beatraddy.com. That same promo code works as zero restriction as well. So check that out. Big thanks to Beat Ratty. Let's get to the Senior Open.
Wait, Andy, is that crew the one with the pockets, like the quarterback
kangaroo
pockets?
Pocket.
The old Tom Morrison, big Tom Morrison pockets.
Well, he had the back thing. He had the
quarterback.
He wouldn't
you turn it around.
That.
It's kind of the
he
same.
wouldn't have needed that if he was wearing Beat Ratty gear.
The crew. Yeah, I should have worn I got some Dratty stuff. I cleaned out the Seminole Pro Shop with.
When were you down there?
Of all their
Walker
Dratty.
Cup?
Yeah, for the Stevens Cup and the Walker Cup and
guy goes to Seminole more than anybody.
But instead, Andy, I wanted to wear something for the occasion. So I
gold boy. YouTube viewers will be able to see that.
Yeah. Shout out to the Stovepipe who won the I forget what tournament he won. He won some local amateur tournament. It was a big trophy. He could have brought that. He could mail that to Kepa in case Rahm didn't win this week. He could have mailed it to Kepa.
Okay. Let's talk about the Senior Open. Carnoustie, KJ Choi wins. Did you take in a lot of this? Were you enjoying some coffee golf this week?
Yeah, very, very, very little. I was rooting on our boy Richard Green. Comes up with a second place finish, but I knew PJ was all over this. I mean, he's
PJ's got Senior Tour minute.
Champs Tour minute, baby. We're back. We're back.
He's the Champions Tour Cronk.
We took a break last week.
Were you locked in?
I was locked in this morning. I was legitimately locked in because KJ it looked dicey there for a second this morning, but he rallied. He came back. So KJ Choi, you're champion. This was my first real long term exposure of a Sky Sports broadcast, so it was a little different. It was all produced overseas. So that was honestly, it was jarring. I was used to our wonderful graphics package and
the Cookie Monster was up in Minneapolis.
And there was.
What about Big Papa? Was he there?
No, Bob Papa. I was waiting for the voice of the New York Giants to take me home through this KJ Choi major championship, but nothing. So KJ Choi is your champion. To me, my standout moment of the day was El Pato. He's got his own logo now. He's not sponsored by anybody.
Glad he didn't win.
Since he came back. No, it's just an intersecting AC, but it's all over his shirt and it's on his hat. So,
now I gotta look at this.
He's branded himself now for his big return. So if he makes it to Augusta, I think it's going to be really interesting.
I gotta say, this Paul Broadhurst story? He didn't play golf all year.
No,
and he hadn't played in a tournament. And he finished third. I mean, he almost won, and it was his first competitive start of the year.
Yeah, and Patty Harrington obviously was having, his utter domination of the Dick Open. Came in kind of riding a hot streak here. Had a really tough day yesterday. I believe played his first 2 holes today at 5 over, and then rallied to get back to even on the day. He was glad that KJ Choi ran away with it, because he would have been very disappointed if he had a chance to be in it and gave it up this morning.
What are your thoughts on Dick Green?
Listen, man, I was just taking it all in today. I don't know if I have Dick Green thoughts.
Do you think he's inspiring? Him and Tyler Watts are inspiring the next generation of left-handed golfers.
We need Mike Weir representation on the leaderboard this week. There was nothing. We just talked about Mike Weir being.
He doesn't play well enough.
I'm just saying we need you just
talked
play
about
well
him all
to be
week on the leaderboard
on the President's Cup. Well, now again,
he's not playing well. You know why he's not playing well?
Because Ernie's going to take his spot, so he can't be a playing captain. So
because he's I don't think he's wearing Dratty right now.
That's what it is. He's got to represent not only his country, but the entire rest of the world, except for Europe. He's responsible for a lot. That pressure's probably getting to him. But as Brendan did tell me to do, I wrote down a peak. So KJ Choi is on 17 at this point. This is I think the last commercial break they go to. So I did write down the advertisers for peak 12:15 p.m. on Sunday of Champs Tour. And it's not as bad as you probably think.
Well, I mean, this was a major week. We got to see it when it's the
this
Dick
is
Open.
This is a good
or the
comparison.
Or the dump in the box.
This is a good comparison. So it was Mercedes Benz. That's a real thing.
I think there's some RNA deal there.
Pods. If anybody's interested in moving across the country, Pods is
I've used Pods. I have used Pods.
So Pods, Blue Chew, which, as we learned at the U.S. Open, is like a staple of golf.
Isn't that for dogs? Isn't that for dogs?
No, it is not.
That's Chewy. Oh, yeah, that's Chewy.
Blue Chew, Dude Wipes, big on the Golf Channel rotation. Noble, Verbo, and Walgreens Pharmacy.
Pretty a lot of blue chip brands there. I gotta say,
I thought for the last commercial break of a major, I thought it was honestly pretty good. So we'll have to compare that to a normal run of the mill Champs Tour event.
Yeah, you save that data mark, have it favorited so you can find it easily, and we can compare back. This might have been the pinnacle of the advertising spots.
Did they play that Google ad that they've been playing during the Olympics? Have you seen that one, Andy?
Everybody keeps tweeting about it. I haven't even seen it yet.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I haven't
Andy,
seen. I haven't been locked
Okay.
into the Olympics. I got to be.
It's kind of crazy. This ad.
This is up there. I mean, this is up there with Grand Wagoneer, Derek Jeter, of just up there on the Mount Rushmore of. I don't want to say all-time worst commercials. It just all-time confusing commercials. So it's an ad for Google Gemini, the AI platform, and it's an Olympic ad, and it's this dad. He comes on the screen and he's talking about how his young daughter, who's like 6 or 7, is a huge Sydney McLaughlin fan, the track star, and how he's like her number one fan, and she's her number one fan, and like she's inspired by her and all this. And then the whole premise of the commercial is he then has AI write a letter from the daughter to Sydney McLaughlin. It's insane.
I gotta see it. I gotta see this commercial.
It's awful.
I gotta tune into the Olympics.
Wouldn't you? I mean, I'm sure you get fan mail all the time.
I don't get any.
But
fan
wouldn't
mail.
you rather have a aspiring podcaster? Maybe a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old draw you a picture, or a 6 or 7-year-old write you like a 3-word thing, like "I love your podcast, I want to be like you." Then have like AI. And what happens if a bunch of kids use this?
The
AI thing is a whole bucket. I'm not ready for AI.
It's a bizarre commercial. It doesn't make any sense, because she's going to get the same letter, right? Theoretically, if everyone uses AI to write a letter to Sydney McLaughlin.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think I've said this on a pod, but there just needs to be like a uniform. Society should have to decide if we want technology, I think.
AI is useful. I mean, you have the transcription and the subtitles.
We just had a demo with our podcast software. PJ can like change what I say. If PJ doesn't like if I'm mean about the Jets, he could like
Brentley,
he could like edit. He could edit what he could edit what I say, and I won't even know. You could say like he could have me say something ridiculous.
You're going to be complimenting Aaron Rodgers more than you can ever believe.
Hey, last result here. Laura Coughlin wins her first LPGA title, beating Mao Saigo by 2 shots. Lauren's been like knocking on the door. I feel like she's been around, wins a ton. It was at the CPKC Women's Open in Calgary, Alberta, and wins her first title. Congrats to Lauren. Winning is really hard, and it's been a process, and it's awesome to see her get to the top of the mountain.
How cool would it be for her to play the Solheim Cup this year, just a little bit north of where she played in college, University of Virginia? And I think the Solheim Cup is in Gainesville, Virginia. Is that right? Not to be confused with the Swamp.
I mean, it's right near Brendan, Cabin John.
Kind of, right? Where is Brendan? Where's he
been? He's been at the beach. Yeah. He's on vacation.
The Outer Banks, Virginia Beach.
I don't know exactly. He he calls it the shore. So I don't ask specifics. I don't think I want to delve out to specifics on this podcast either. But he goes to the beach. This is his annual beach vacation. He's going to be back Wednesday. I guess I didn't announce that enough on the pod, did I?
Today?
No, just in general.
No, I don't think that actually ever came up over the last week.
Why he was gone? He just was.
he just disappeared.
See, that's why we needed AI.
I'm excited for him to come back. These it's been lovely having a rotation of wonderful guests, including Brentley. But I'm not cut out to run this podcast. I'm not cut out to organize and make sure all the details.
You forgot the event of the week. This
week. Oh, Colorado Open?
No, this past week. The Colorado State Open.
It wasn't the event of the week. The U.S. Junior was.
The battle
I said it could almost was.
Correct. Yeah, that's
who won?
True. Well, the event of the Davis Bryant from Colorado State. Great story. Born 14 weeks premature. Spent 105 days in the hospital. His dad, I guess, is apparently, according to Monday Q, the director of golf at the course they played at, Green Valley Ranch.
He beat Jimmy Hardkay.
Isn't that in a playoff?
Oh, Luke Guthrie.
I thought he was retired.
How about that? Luke Guthrie back on a board.
I thought Jimmy Hardkay, didn't he retire?
Yeah, he did. He's retired, but he's probably on summer break or something. He took the week off. The purse is so big for this thing. Why wouldn't you?
Did you see who missed the cut?
Skinny Vinny.
No, the pride of Denver, pride of Cherry Hills.
Who?
David Duval, Double D. He beat his son Brady by a shot. It was a game within the game.
God, we heard on Champions Tour minute that David Duval's been grinding.
I mean, he's apparently been grinding. He's playing in the fifth major.
Yeah.
Colorado State Open.
He skipped the Open to play in the Colorado State Open.
That's probably why he skipped the Open. How about he skipped the Senior and the regular Open?
Both Opens.
To play his priorities are where they need to be.
How many times do you get a chance to play in the Colorado Open with your son, though? That's like LeBron playing with Bronny for the Lakers.
Kind of, yeah. Except I don't think Bronny could average, like a point per game lower. I mean, he almost lost to his son. His son's like 16.
Well, he played bad. That's the way golf goes. It's nice to see Tyler Strafacci. That's a blast from the past.
Yeah, we got
T6?
we got Andy Ogletree and Ty Strafacci. I'm sure Frank was on the back. He was protecting the field. Yeah, Frank was protecting the field for sure.
Yeah, that was a rough scene. That with that moment.
2020.
Yeah.
That was one of the all-time AMs. The quarantine.
You were probably the only person there.
Yeah. Big Stu made a run to the quarters. Did
you like eat at the? Was it just like players and media? Was that just the way it was?
Well, so you've been to Bandon, right? Have you ever needed to stay off property?
I've stayed off
when
property.
You've gone, or have you stayed in Coos Bay?
No, I just stayed in.
Yeah,
Bandon.
I stayed at like a bed bug inn in Coos Bay for like the first, I don't know, maybe first 3 or 4 days, probably 3 days, and then a spot opened up because it's the USAM. You go from 300 something guys to 64. So they're like, hey, some spots open up. So yeah, you had to stay within the bubble. Most of the other courses were not in the bubble, and you could only eat at the clubhouse at Bandon Dunes. But it was great. I had dinner with Big Stu like 3 straight nights, I think. It was great.
USAM tails. You know, are you going to the USAM this year?
Or just Hazeltine?
Excited?
The Ryder Cup was pretty good there. Look, I don't know what routing they're going to play. I'm kind of intrigued. Are they going to play the Ryder Cup routing where they went like 1 through 6 and you didn't like that?
I think that the switching of routings for this like idea that matches might end before you get to 18 so silly, because then we saw like at the last President's Cup, like every match got to 18 and it was like, wait, why are we playing this hole way over here?
What are your thoughts on the Mall of America?
I'm going to be in town that week, and
really?
I think if I'm staying the same place I was staying last year this week, it'll be right next to the Mall of America. I didn't go in. I was kind of bummed because I didn't go in. I like Minneapolis. I might have set you up with golf. I think I was helping set up a little golf for some media members. So you might be getting to play a little golf.
Oh, for the USAM? Yeah. Well, see, I'm not bringing my clubs. So I might have to rent clubs because I'm going straight to the Women's Open at St. Andrews.
Oh God, what a stretch for you.
Yeah, and
how long are you gonna be gone?
I'm very
like
anti.
3 weeks?
No, well, don't. My wife's not very happy about it, but yeah, 2 weeks, and then I come back. I have a fantasy football draft on the day that I land, and then I drive up to the Country Club of Columbus for a little Haskins Award boondoggle.
Look at you
doing some preview content for the college.
It's your summer break.
Yeah, it's great. But I've been home for a while. I mean, I haven't done anything since the U.S. Open. It'll be nice. I've only seen St. Andrews when it hasn't been a zoo for an Open championship. So Walker Cup was great last year. I'm excited to see the women play it. And I wouldn't miss the USAM.
Yeah, you can't.
I had a choice actually to go to the US Amateur, which would be probably like my 9th or 10th one, or go to Memphis for the
Swamp Ass Invitational.
For the FedEx St. Jude.
That's not even a question. Minneapolis is great in August. It's a great place to be.
Hey, I enjoyed my time in Minneapolis. I was there for the Ryder Cup, which I asked you about the Mall of America because they had a media party there, and they rented out the entire theme park in the middle. And no other media members took advantage of the unlimited.
You went on the rides. Nobody else did.
There was no one else there. So it was only me. And I was like, 25 at the time, 26? Of course I'm going to ride the rides.
Did you watch the Mighty Ducks as a kid? Are you too young?
It's been a while. No, I'm not too young.
PJ, have you ever seen the Mighty Ducks, or are you too young?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the all-time...
Okay, so...
One of the all-time shock and start segments was the...
Generation Zs are watching the Mighty Ducks.
I would say Generation Zs have seen the Mighty Ducks. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, there's
Familiar
great
with Charlie Conway. Charlie Conway is a huge like college darty jersey. If you can find like a $20 knockoff Charlie Conway Adam Banks jersey, those are huge.
That's
are
big with
there
the
was some
Z's.
Mighty Ducks talk. There was some Mighty Ducks talk for the 3M with Mav McNeely, and they were making it sound like he was some hockey guy that tripped into golf.
You know,
and just happened to go to Stanford, never mind that he, made the quarters of the U.S. Junior.
if you were going to make a comp for Matt McNeely, it would be so perfect. Adam Banks, the cake eater,
Oh, yeah.
it would have it would have fit perfect, for Matt McNeely. Which Mighty Ducks player is he?
He's a junior duck. He's a little duck.
All right.
Or a junior shark. He's a shark. Yeah.
Brentley, big thank you for coming on. You can read all of his work, see him on TV at Golf Channel, NBCsports.com now, right? Is that what it is?
/ No, well, it's Golf Channel. It's a redirect. It's like Fried Egg. Did you have to redo your URL?
We're still the Fried Egg.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Brentley, thanks for coming on and filling the chair of Brendan Porath, who returns from vacation on Wednesday. So we'll be back. Thanks, Brentley.